Hiya, here I am, having had a nice little sleep for about an hour, but I'm still tired. But just bulging with stories to tell you about what's happened today. I left dear old Bodø in Norway at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was quite an early start. I mean, yesterday was dreadful there because they had about 17.5 million cyclists all over the place. And then I found my car marooned by all of them who were washing their bicycles with pipes, water pipes. I wish I'd done my car at the same time because my car looks absolutely filthy. And I might tell you, that awful seagull who did nasty things to my car brought some of his mates along, because when I went back there, the windscreen was covered in their dumps. Horrible creatures they are. If I'd had my machine gun, I'd have soon got rid of them. Maybe I wouldn't. Really? As if I haven't got enough work as it is. So, let me tell you what's been happening today. It was a very long journey. It was 710 kilometers. And I saw some amazing things on the way. When I finally reached the so-called Norwegian-Swedish frontier, which is nothing, there wasn't even anybody there. It was just a kind of post. Well, it's a signpost saying you are in Sverige, Sweden. Anyway, I drove along the road, and within a few minutes, I can't tell you what I saw. A whole posse of, well, I presumed they were stags, great big antlers, great big horns, and babies as well, all their babies. There must have been about 50 of them, and they were rushing all around the car and everything. And they were lovely. Then as they left, I went on a little bit further. I drove a bit further on, and there was another lot of them, and they surrounded the car. This time, two of them, the younger ones, were a little naughty, a bit defiant. What do you think they did? I mean, I always thought they were supposed to be quite timid, but they weren't. And what they did was they just sat down in the middle of the road in front of the car and looked up at me as if to say, "You haven't paid us for taking our film." But I mean, cheek. But they were lovely. Mind you, I could be wrong, because I got further along the road and I came to a place which was called, translated into English, Moose Village. So there may well not have been stags, but mooses. I mean, it is possible that I made a mistake. Sorry about that. Anyway, it was a joyful event to watch them. And I saw even more of them drinking down by the river, because what I noticed about Sweden straight away, that was the difference in the landscape, in as much as Norway is about mountains and fjords, and Sweden so far seems to me to be about lakes and undulating scenery. I haven't seen a lot of mountains. It's a long stretch of road that between Bodø and here, Umea. And lots of fascinating things to look at. Wildlife along. I could feel the bushes pulsating with their presence. They were lovely. However, that's the wildlife lot. So I needed some Swedish money. I hadn't got any Swedish money on me. And I thought I'd also better fill up on petrol, because it was so isolated on that journey. I thought, my God, wouldn't it be awful if I ran out of petrol? So I stopped at a tiny little town. Reminded me of one of those little towns that you see in American films. And I stopped at the garage, and of course I couldn't operate the damn thing. Oh, I don't know. Different countries have different ways of operating their pumps. Either you put the card in first, the credit, not the credit card, the banker's card, you put that in first and pay first, or you pay for it afterwards. And well, I had to press a button to say who I was, and then I had to pay for it first. Oh, and I could not get the damn thing to work. I was on the point of smashing the damn machine into pieces when the man came out. He said, "Are you having some trouble here, I think?" So I said, "Yes, I don't know how to do this." And he said, "But have you got the money in the bank to be able to pay for it?" Which I thought was a bit cheeky, didn't you? I said, "Yes, I have. At least I hope I have. After this trip, I'm not going to have much." Anyway, he was very nice, and he came and did it all for me. And then he looked at my car, and he saw the printing on the side from Muela, Spain to the Arctic Circle. And he said, Is this you? You have come from Spain?" I said, "Yes, I have." He said, "Spain is," and he pointed down there, and I wondered what he was pointing at, actually. It's down there. And I said, I don't follow you." And he said, "Well, Spain is down here. We are up here, and Spain is down here." "Oh," I said, "I see what you mean. Yes, it is a long way away. I've come many miles, and it's been a very long journey." He said, "Well, that's most interesting, because I would like to go to Spain. I would like to see the flamenco dancing." He said, "What you call it?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I would like to go there." I said, "Well, there's no reason why you shouldn't one day." Anyway, we parted very good friends. But before that, I said, "Do you know if there is a cash machine anywhere near?" And he said, "Oh, yes, you go up to Mrs. Olofsson's." And I said, "Oh, really? Up there? She has the bank just up the road. You go up the road and you turn left and then you turn right." And I said, "Oh, thank you very much." So I went up there and I went into the bank. And there was Mrs. Olofsson dealing with an elderly customer who was being rather long-winded over what she was doing, of course. And I said to Mrs. Olofsson that, do you have a cash machine?" And she said, "No, it's outside." So, and she looked at my car out through the window. And she said, "Is that your car there?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You have come from Spain?" And I said, "Yes, I have. A long journey. I'm doing it for charity." I told the full story, And, everybody speaks good English in Scandinavia. I haven't found anybody who hasn't. Anyway, she talked to me, Mrs. Olofsson. And, of course, what I didn't do is I haven't told you what the man in the garage said. I said, "I do need some money." So he said, "Well, I think Mrs. Olofsson has got a cash machine there, but she may not have it now." She said, "Because her dog didn't like it." "Oh," I said, her dog didn't like cat." "Yes," and she said, when they bought the first one, this is the second one, when they bought the first one, he attacked it and broke it from the wall. And there was a lot about it. And people wouldn't go into the back. Oh, my goodness gracious me. So anyway, it was interesting meeting Mrs. Olofsson. And I didn't hear her dog. I don't know whether it was a Rottweiler or a Pekingese, who knows. But I suggest it was a large dog, but I didn't hear it. Anyway, she started talking to me. She said, "My husband was in Spain. My late husband was in Spain. And he was a mining engineer. and he worked in the south somewhere near Malaga, I think she said. Anyway, she said, I know he liked Spanish women. And she said he liked Spanish women with big, and she patted her buttocks. She said he liked women with big buttocks. Well, she didn't say buttocks, but she just pointed to her posterior. I said, oh, really? She said, I know he had an affair with one. He thought I didn't know, but I did know. I knew very well because he had such a smile on his face when he came home. I thought, I'd better not get involved in this conversation. I've been involved in these sort of things. What with the lady up in the Irish girl up there with her father, the father having sex with his wife at 8:30. No, I thought I'd better not get involved in that. So I said, it's been a great pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Olafson. How did you know my name? She said. And I have to say, she was a bit of a flirt, that Mrs. Olafson. And I said, well, the gentleman in the petrol station. So she said, oh, him. He knows everything. I was out of there in a flash. You know, that was interesting, wasn't it? Sort of interesting. Poor Mrs. Olafson. Anyway, Mr. Olafson had clearly passed to a better flamenco sky in the somewhere or other. And I was on my way. And then you kind of know the rest, really, because arriving in Umea, which is where I am now, was really, really very tiring. You know, I'd had this long journey from 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I had all this walking back and forth. Now, having had no food during the day and everything, so later on I'm going out to get a little something to eat and then going to bed again because I'm very tired. And incidentally, while I'm with you, I have a little scolding to do. I want to scold my Doctor Who fans around the world. I haven't seen much evidence that you've been dipping into your pockets for help the heroes. Now, some of you may have been contributing via Facebook or something, I don't know. But I do hope all of you Doctor Who fans, are not forgetting, if you can afford to buy some memorabilia, a picture or a little statue or something of connected with Doctor Who, you can afford to help those men who rely on us so badly, those men who have pathetic feet and arms and legs and are struggling with the memory of that ghastly conflict. Now, come on, do your bit, Doctor Who fans. You know what I think of you. I've always enjoyed your company and I've done everything I can to help you. Please, please, please put your hand in your pocket. Those guys are so worth it. They really are. They're wonderful guys. So please do that. If you don't, I shall get Mrs. Olafson onto you, and her dog too. So you better get on to it. Well, I think I've said enough tonight, don't you? I usually talk a lot of nonsense. But I like to just let you know where I am. I'll be talking to you hopefully on time tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I might have some more interesting stories of what's happening in sparkling Umea. I must say it's not the sort of place that I like to spend a holiday in. Sorry, Umea, but that's how it is. But I shall be here for 2 nights before my next big stop, which is, get ready for it, Stockholm. Oh, what an exciting time. But it is a titch warmer here, just a little bit warmer. It went up to about 14 or 15 degrees on the journey coming in here. But otherwise it was kind of 8 degrees and 9 degrees and so cold. And it's cold out there now, I can tell. I'm looking down at the river and it looks cold. And there's no sign of life. Do you think everybody's dead? It'd be awful, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'll speak to you tomorrow with some more rubbish. Maybe a little dance. But not tonight, I'm too tired to dance, I'm afraid. But we'll see. All right, my darlings, wherever you are in the world, especially you Doctor Who fans, remember what I said. Wherever you are, have a good night. Sleep well. If you're going out partying, have a good party. If you're sitting in watching the telly, Strictly Come Dancing or something, doing the knitting while you're watching it, do so, enjoy it. Whatever you're doing, have a nice evening and a good night. And hopefully I'll be here tomorrow with some more nonsense. Good night.